Alright, what's up guys? In this video we're going to be looking at using Adobe Illustrator, a logo design in Adobe Illustrator, made 3D in Adobe Photoshop, and taken into a software called Snapchat Lens Studio to make an augmented reality Snapchat filter with our 3D logo. So if you see, I've got like a 3D logo on my screen made in Photoshop, but what my students have done in the past with this is we've recorded videos where, again, their logo has been converted to 3D and turned into a Snapchat filter. This video, as an example, was recorded using Snapchat and just kind of placed into the world. So there's one student recorded from home. We did this in the classroom. This was like the first time we had ever started doing this project in graphic design classes. And I think it went pretty cool. So once again, I'm using a software called Snapchat Lens Studio. It's free from Snapchat. It's still relatively new within the last year or two, and it's really awesome. Adobe just put out a recent augmented reality app called Adobe Aero, and I'm still learning that one, so hoping to implement that in the classroom very soon. For now, Snapchat Lens Studio. So let's get into it. I had a logo design in Illustrator that I have used for previous projects, just moving myself around. A logo design in Illustrator that I've designed in previous projects. What's important about this logo is that it is all just one shape. I've grouped it together, and that it's not made up of text or strokes. So I created outlines out of the text, and then I would have object expanded my strokes. So it's all grouped, Command G or Control G on a PC to group it, and then I'm going to Command C to copy it because I'm going to paste it into Photoshop. Command C to copy. Now over in Photoshop, this is what my document looks like right now, but I want to start fresh, so let's go ahead and Command W to close that. I'm going to make a new document. The size that I'm using is 2048 by 2048 pixels at 72 ppi. Looks like this. 72 ppi is important because it doesn't need to be anything bigger than what would be seen on a screen. Go ahead and create that, and then all I got to do is Command V to paste in my logo as a smart object. I'm going to go ahead and hold Alt on my keyboard as I scale it up to keep it centered, and hit Enter when it's big enough. So normally I wouldn't see this 3D stuff yet, I just see the layers. But what we're going to do is, with our Vector Smart Object layer selected, we can go to 3D, and then New 3D Extrusion from Selected Layer. Extruding just means like taking and kind of stretching out into 3D space. You might get like a menu being like, hey, do you want to open up the 3D workshop or workspace, and you do, because this is what it looks like. So I'm just going to keep moving myself around here. So over here where the layers once were, I now have a 3D menu, and I can see everything inside my scene, including my Vector Smart Object. My Vector Smart Object is currently made up of multiple materials, including the extrusion material. The extrusion material, for some reason, defaulted to gray. I'm going to go ahead and click on that and change that color to like a darker cyan, kind of like the color scheme that I was using for my logo over in Illustrator. That is better. Other things, I have lights, I have all kinds of things I can add to my scene, but I'm really just concerned with the object itself. If I want to change my view, I can click on Current View, and then click and drag, so I'm not actually rotating the object, I'm rotating the view. If I click back on the object, I can change the depth. Right now it's stretched out pretty far. I'm going to go ahead and drop that extrusion depth right here to something a little more reasonable. And then once I've done that, though, it's no longer on the center of the axis, and that's important. I want it to be always centered in the axis. So if I, with my Vector Smart Object layer selected, click on this button right here, it's coordinates, I can see right now the Y is a little up so that it's sitting on the ground, but the Z is at 10. I'm going to go ahead and zero that out, hit 0, and boom, now I am back to the center. And that's it. I have a 3D object in Photoshop now. So there's a lot of things I can do with it, but what I'm just going to do is export that really quickly by going to 3D. Where did it go? 3D, export 3D layer. And then the file type that I'm using is an OBJ, a wavefront OBJ right here. I'm going to hit OK, and I'm going to name it something. So let's go ahead and name this, there's my Chaotic Good 3D logo, because it's my Chaotic Good logo. Save. And now I should have on my Finder, if I just open that up, the OBJ and an MTL file, which is the material. This is my test one from earlier. Boom, there it is. So let's go ahead and open up Lens Studio. Command space. I'm just going to type this in and open it up quickly. Now, Lens Studio has tons and tons and tons of really cool templates. All like the face ones that you might notice, or you might have like recognized from Snapchat. But the ones that I use in class so far are static object and animated object. Our logo is just going to be still, so it's a static object. Let's go ahead and click that, and we get a really cool stock template that helps us create, or helps us understand what the heck is going on. So inside the stock template, I see my preview over here. I see my actual scene, or like where I can manipulate things right here. And then this is basically akin to layers. In other like 3D software, this is like your hierarchy or your outliner. But I see that I have a bunch of different layers. This world object controller right here, where it says edit me, is where I can replace things. So the trophy that says replace me is an example object that I can go ahead and right click and remove. Now, I'm going to go ahead and right click again, import an object, and I'm going to find that chaotic good 3D OBJ. So, came in. Problem that I've been having is that when these OBJs that I can Photoshop always come in without their materials. So I have a workaround for that. If you know why that's happening, please let me know in comments. I'm still new to this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and drag my chaotic good underneath the world object controller, so it's inside of all that good stuff. And then on my keyboard, I can use W, E, and R to change between tools. W lets me move the thing, or move my object. E lets me rotate it, and R lets me scale it. If I hold down Alt, I can drag and rotate my camera. And now I'm going to scale it up from the center so it fits pretty big. Now, let's go ahead and color it real quickly. If I right-click down here on my resources, I can add new. And I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to add a new PBR material, which is just a basic color, a flat color. Click on that. And then over here, I can change the base color to, let's do that cyan that I was using. Now, inside of my chaotic good 3D logo, if I click on vector, or if I open that up a little bit more, I can click one, hold shift, click the bottom, and I'm going to change their material. I am going to go ahead and add that PBR that I just added on. Click this guy, click PBR, and boom, now they're all back to cyan. Again, that's my workaround for why it came in as a black object. If you have an idea as to why I was having that problem, please let me know. Okay, so now we're about ready. Other things that change real quick is this touch collision right here. This is this like blue box that you see, and that's what this collider box that basically tells Snapchat like, hey, if the user pushes or touches this box with their hand or another object, the augmented reality object should move. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure that that object fits. I'll bring myself back up. Click on that. I can just use like again the R to scale it, and I'm going to squish it in a little bit. Bring it down. That's accurate enough for now, but I'm good to go. So the next part is just sending over to Snapchat. As long as your device with Snapchat and your computer are on the same Wi-Fi, this actually is really, really, really easy. You don't even need to like make an account or like send it to Snapchat. Right here, it says pair your device. It gives you a snap code. Guess what you do with it? If you are familiar with Snapchat, you know that that means to just scan it with your phone. I'm opening up Snapchat, and then I am going to scan that code. Takes a second. Asks me to pair with Lens Studio. I hit pair, and now I should be connected. There it is. Pairing my device. And now I can push Lens to device. I should get a notification real soon. I'm doing it. There it is. Sending Lens. And as long as it's been paired, it usually stays paired for like a day or 24 hours. I can get that lens. I just got the notification for it on my device. And then like we see here, we now have that lens available. And I can go ahead and use it. I think I can use it for like up to 24 or 48 hours before I need to repush it. And I can now in Snapchat place that 3D object somewhere in my scene. It's really cool. It's exciting. You should totally do it. Longer video, but again, logo in Illustrator, extrude it in Photoshop, export it as an OBJ, and then play with it in Lens Studio. Thanks for watching.